updated one. It's got everything combined.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Today is March 15, 2022. We're here today for the second part of our work session for our park master plan. Tonight we want to take an opportunity to thank all of y'all for being here tonight. I'm going to ask if Commissioner Henderson would lead us in our invocation and Commissioner Edwards would lead us in our pledge.
Thank you. Thank you. Dear Father, once again, we come with thanksgiving in our hearts. We come just thanking you for just allowing us to be here this evening to conduct your business. We just thank you. This we pray in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get going, I want to take an opportunity to welcome Mr. Jarvis Sims tonight, the new interim county manager. Sir, I'm so glad to have you tonight. You got anything you want to say before we get started?
First of all, I would like to say I'm very thankful and honored to serve as the interim county manager for Newton County. I'm committed to serve Newton County as a public servant leader who places Newton County values and traditions at the core while also embracing innovative ideas. I look forward to working with the commissioners, elected officials, department heads, and staff, as well as the community and business leaders to build on the successes that Newton County has achieved thus far. We are one Newton. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dwayne, we're going to ask you if you would to bring, come on up, you and your team tonight. I want to thank you guys for the presentation that you gave last, I think it was last week. Yep, thank you. Yep, thank you so much for doing that. And tonight, I'm sure that the commissioners have questions that they want to ask tonight. Do you guys want to, y'all want to start off? I know y'all got some things y'all want to say before we open it up to the commissioners.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, commissioners, for your time this evening. I'm going to kind of just turn it over to Aaron and Katie.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to say thank you to the board for allowing us to have this plan done. There's been a lot of good information come out of it, and I think as y'all get a chance to look at it, you'll kind of see that, and Aaron can help me here if I'm wrong, but I think after tonight, we have a public meeting next Thursday night at 6:30 at Turner Lake, and that'll give the citizens a chance to come in, view the plan, ask any questions, and then Aaron will tweak whatever he needs to from tonight and from next Thursday, and hopefully he's planning on trying to wrap this up here in the next 3 or 4 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Aaron, and Katie for being here tonight. Before we get started, do you guys have anything you want to say?
Other than I know that our last meeting, we went through a terrible amount of information in a relatively short period of time, so that I hope it was useful. I believe that you all are in receipt of the presentation of those initial findings and recommendations, so we look forward to being able to answer any questions or concerns or hear any comments that you have regarding where we are in this planning process, so that we can make the necessary refinements in order to better serve the community going forward. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, sir, if there's any questions or comments.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, I don't know who want to start off. Any questions, guys? Commissioner Henderson?
Thank you, Mr. C.
Yes, sir.
The question that I have is that I heard what you said last time you was here, and I kept thinking to myself, I said, well, whatever happened to the plans that from the other master plans that were originally had been taken up and talked about and promised, but nobody had the funding for it. And the plan that I'm referring to is the 2005 master plan. And it focused on the inner city kids. It focused on moving apart from Jefferson Street to higher ground. And I think even though the master plan said that there was no money behind it, in fact that you got we got like a 1.5 spots allotment and bought property and stuff. And moves is the same as the 2005 master plan had said. But also in 2000 master plan that was promised to the inner city, in town, it was, and I think the plans that the late Cheryl Franklin had done, when she was before Mr. Jeff, and the plans was for a football field and then a track that goes around it. And it just seemed like, and I was listening, it seemed like we just had forgot about that. And I'm trying to figure out how can we get that back on track, get that done, keep the promise that had been made, and get that done so we can kind of move on.
As I recall what you were talking about, in our recommendations, there was that, I think it was the Highway 36 park development, that believe had an opportunity for some sort of an outdoor open lawn area that could be developed into a multi-purpose field, potentially with a track. It was not clear in the previous plan exactly what the impetus was behind the track, because a track has a very specific set of programming related to it. So if that is still a need, that wasn't necessarily something that came out of our communications with staff or with the public in that phase. So that's definitely something that we can look at. What I would be interested in seeing, especially for the specific area that you are referring to, is we had one recommendation that wasn't necessarily pointed out, and that was reassessing some site planning initiatives associated with the Nelson Heights Community Center. Internally, talking with my team as well as talking with the park staff, we see that as an opportunity that is ideally located in order to develop some sort of facility that could be brought to a next level to better serve inner city youth in that area. And that may include a field with a track, things along those lines. I think all of that is warranted. I think before that's serious, I think there needs to be an additional planning study in terms of like a site master plan to get a effective layout of how that might work out, so that we're not necessarily putting a field on one side of the street relative to parking and things along those lines. So I think there needs to be a little bit more comprehensive view of how that might be addressed in that particular part of the county that you're referring to.
Commissioner?
Thank you, if I may. Well, I just, I'm the type of person, since I'm used to be the youngest on this board and I'm the oldest, I believe in, like, if you give your word, if you do a plan, and this is before your time, and you don't keep your word, then, what Novo said, well, then you're really not hitting on too much. And this, this is my own personal opinion about that. And the word was given. He just didn't have the funding. And when we finally got, a chance, like keep other stuff that we do here on this board, we promised the people that we were going to give a lawyer, in-house attorney. We never did it. So what I think we need to do as a board is start, when something is done, then we should do it. Now we come back, but a few years later, to 10, 12 years later, and say, whoa, no, we don't want to do it over that side. It's no longer feasible. But it was feasible then. And so what we're going to tell them, say, hey, look here, his more growth down a little further on 36 where the building all them apartments at, and we're just going to abandon what we said we were going to do for you. We're also going to abandon the fact that the city of Covington has worked out and did a plan that would connect, I think Central Park, I think that's the name of it, Central Park with Nelson Heights Community Center with all the amenities and stuff. And then we're not going to do our part as far as what was said. I couldn't understand that. I mean, I may not be that merch, this old man, but I keep my word.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank
Thank-
you for your input, sir.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Sanders.
Yes, sir. You said there were like 100 that actually participated in the whole survey? Was it 100 citizens?
In the total public input process, there was a little over 100. We had somewhere around 60 participants online and somewhere around 30 to 40 in person at the meetings.
My only concern, that's only 0.09% of a population of 113,000 people, and we're missing the youth. Have you ever thought about, and I don't know if this actually came about, of going into the school system, maybe working with the superintendent to maybe take time out in the school system where the kids can do, the youth can do a survey and decide on what they want, because Newton County is getting younger, it's not getting older. So a lot of the things proposed actually cater to us Generation Xers and some of our baby boomers, but you have a lot of the centennials and millennials are not being looked at. So that was my only concern with the master plan. It was a little bit older, and I don't have a problem with it, but for those who are actually going to be coming to Newton County now, our younger generation, we need to find out what they want, because 100 participants and making a plan off of 100 out of 113,000, which is not even 1%. 1% is 1,133. So we have to kind of go back and bring in that youth. So my suggestion is maybe going into the school system, talking to the superintendents and say, maybe we can, in all the school system, do a survey with all the youth in the school system, a short survey, because they have a short attention span. You don't want to do nothing long. And maybe see what they want, what type of activities they want. So that would help us a little bit with some of the recreation. So that was one of my number one concerns. We didn't reach the youth. And the other one was, how would you roll it out? Like which districts would you start in? Would you start in the most underserved districts that don't have a lot of these parks and rec? Or are you going to do it as a whole? Because that's finances that has to come to play when you're trying to roll out a whole lot of projects at one time. So that's going to be my second concern, is how is this actually going to be rolled out? So if we can look at that and let us know what is your plan of how do you implementing, putting the plan into action, that's a big, huge step. And I think that was all of my questions so far.
Okay, fair enough. I'll be happy to get with Jeff and the rest of the staff team about talking about how we could get some supplemental information from the schools, from the students, the youth. I agree. Public participation these days in a lot of these types of forums is drastically lower, even on online platform, than we're accustomed to. So I do think that might be a warranted study. To try to get some more information, especially for such a large chunk of the demographic here in the community. In terms of rollout, and this is my initial thoughts, and I'm totally open to you and to your park staff thoughts. We need to incorporate buy-in from the community, period, because what we are talking about is a large capital program. And to reiterate, what Commissioner Henderson was saying is that if recommendations and promises are made, but they're not followed through, then where is the support? How is this community going to financially support the decisions that are in this plan? So what we always like to do, and this is the way it's structured tentatively in our plan, is that we still have a significant backlog of deferred maintenance and upgrades in our existing facilities. And in our minds, as always, the easiest thing to go ahead and get done from a lower financial impact, also quick turnaround time, so that the community can see that we're addressing these needs. It's brought to our attention, we're addressing it. If we can do this, what else are you willing for us to do? Phasing that out into the next step, into what you saw in the plan as Tier 2, that's when we start looking at some more capital projects. And usually the way we always, in our experience, we like to do that is we want to get the most bang for our buck. So we want to be able to weigh the value of a new development or an improvement relative to how many people that can positively impact. So generally speaking, what you want to do is try to have a strategized approach to where you are taking a large chunk of your initial investment and putting it in highly populated areas, but you still also have to have another wedge, a little bit smaller wedge, that you can start investing in some of the other areas. Because at the end of the day, regardless of where you live in a community, you don't want to see something being built 12 miles away from you and it takes 5 years for funding to come back to your area and all that. So it's going to take a balanced approach, working as a team of elected officials in order to effectively strategize how we distribute that money in a timely fashion.
Thank you. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In our last work session, one of the things that kind of excited me that you said was when you talked about Newton County's being ready for aquatics. And so when I was looking at the recreation program trends, it looks like it was about 71%. And I wanted to know, because that's something that I've been working towards since 2019, how did you come to that conclusion when you did your actual report? Was it just based off of the individuals that put in what they wanted, or how did you come to that conclusion where now is the time for us to begin to move into that particular area?
Sure. So we do work across the nation, a lot of communities, and in particular here in the Southeast. One of the first things that always gets brought up to us as a wish list from the community and from staff and elected officials is some sort of aquatic or water recreation amenity. We really don't have anything here. For a population of 113,000, more or less where we stand today, with a significant projected growth over the next 10 years, not having some sort of a quality water recreation facility, whether that's a true aquatic center or a very well done community pool with a splash pad component, something along those lines, we're a little bit behind the times on that. The other reason why we came to that recommendation simply was because of two parts. One is programming opportunities and programming deficiencies. There is still, even though to Commissioner Sanders' points, the data that we received through the public input wasn't statistically valid by any means or substantiated enough to say that, no, this is a legit desire and we can validate that statistically. But it's still an obvious need, and we are, as going back to the programming discussion, we're a little bit limited and one-sided in terms of our current programming. The park staff is making great gains in trying to diversify their program portfolio, but here in the Southeast and metropolitan Atlanta, in terms of quality of life and economic development, bringing people in, some sort of water recreation is definitely something that we would typically see in a portfolio for a community such as ours here in Newton County. So while I cannot statistically validate those needs, I do believe that is a legitimate need here in the community that should be investigated further. I will say that the one thing that we made an informed decision on as regarding to the aquatic facilities is to be very particular about the types of aquatic amenities that would be in that sort of facility. At the end of the day, historically speaking, competition pools, which have a very high cost of operations and maintenance, versus the user rate and return rate on your investment is significantly low. Competition pools, generally speaking, are a complete money loser. You're never, ever going to recover your rate on that. That being said, it is still typically a need in terms of recreation programming. We still typically have to have that type of facility. So what that does is that tells us that we have to be able to balance the operational needs of an aquatic facility by offering more diverse facilities. On the polar opposite end, in terms of cost recovery for those maintenance and operation funds, family leisure aquatics, where it has interesting features in terms of perhaps a zero depth entry splash pad with a shallow pool, free swim area, perhaps some sort of slide features or other structures associated with it. That is where the real community interest is, right? Because the competitive pool segment of our population is very, very small, right? But the need to support our families in terms of water recreation is substantially larger, so we get a substantially larger buy-in. Setting an effective cost rate structure for that doesn't place burden on the families of Newton County, but also still does some cost recovery in order to offset those expenses, is usually, if you do it right, is usually somewhere to a little over 50 or 60%, typically speaking. That's offsetting the cost of the competitive pools. Furthermore, if you do it even greater, there are examples in the metropolitan Atlanta area. City of Cumming is a great example. They're money makers. They're actually making profit off of these facilities. So they're not losing money annually and all that. So again, we see that as an opportunity for the community, and that's why we wanted to throw that out there as an option for you all to give us some feedback on.
So I know one of the things that I imagined or envisioned when this was brought to my attention from the constituents in the district that I represent was to have like a joint facility, not a standalone aquatic center. So it'll be a recreational facility as well, in addition to that, to kind of help balance that maintenance and operation. So you have that recreational piece that's going to actually help kind of recover maybe some of the expenses that you would have from that aquatic facility. In addition to that, having that facility as well, making sure that there was, in addition to just the recreational piece, that of course there were also, like we talked about the competition pools, that there were regional, state competitions that will come in and that will generate that revenue as well to actually help add with some of that maintenance and operations as well to kind of offset as well. So I just wanted to know how you came to that conclusion, what your thought process was behind it, and if you see that that is something that our community should be moving forward, how we actually would do that.
Certainly, certainly. I do still think that is something that will be, that we would strongly recommend considering going forward with. Again, kind of going back to what we were saying earlier about trying to spend your money and get the most bang for your buck and all that. You may have noticed that the specific area of the county where we were recommending an aquatic facility is not in any one particular district or location. It's at the convergence of the districts that have the most people that people could be able to effectively have that equitable access to that facility. So I think it's two parts. It's right location, right mix of facilities, and it would be great. And it would actually put you in competition with some of your surrounding communities in terms of competing for some of the competitive swim, or even just drawing people out because you have a new facility and they want to go play on the new slides, not the old pool, right?
You know, sky's the limit with aquatics. So you have therapeutic option, you know, with the therapeutic pool, you've got swim lessons, you've got a lot of opportunity to bring in a lot of revenue. 99% of standalone aquatic centers do not break even. We all know that. But when you add recreation components to it, and you're talking about these different amenities, that's how you make sure that you're able to break even.
Great.
So I'm sorry. So we have the families and the children and the teeny weenies, the swim lessons, the just the social activities, and then you have the fitness. You know, aquatic exercise is huge now. So you're looking at aquatic exercise opportunities, fitness, health and wellness, all of the pillars that, you know, we're trying to bring into not only this master plan, but what people are looking at nationally. And especially for Newton County here, it's so important. So there's great opportunities to have a mix of, just like you talked about, multi-generational facility within an aquatic center.
Absolutely. You just defined my vision. So thank you for answering that question. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I have a concern with the backlog, maintenance backlog you spoke of earlier. So refresh my memory, is that backlog of maintenance issues spread mainly across our high population type venues, City Pond and Turner Lake? Are those maintenance issues mainly there, and where else would they be? Just refresh my memory. I'm sorry, I don't recall.
Sure, and I apologize. I didn't bring my backup spreadsheet that kind of had it all broken out, but I do know that out of that I think it was about $17.1 million in deferred maintenance that we identified. About $4.5 million of that was at City Pond, and I believe about $3.5 million of that was at Turner Lake. So yes, your larger, bigger impact facilities in terms of, and concurrent with that, the rest of the facilities, they all had common shared issues, right? Mm-hmm. In terms of providing a quality level of recreation, making sure that we have clean, adequate ADA access to all of your facilities, because we're a little outdated on some of our facilities, so we're not meeting those code requirements. Make sure that lighting is sufficient, upgrading our lighting systems and all that, specifically with some of the turf or some of the ball fields, bringing the turf up to a higher level of play, not necessarily in terms of competition, but safety, to limit liability out here, and then just general upgrades in terms of site furnishings, fixtures, goals, court surfacing, things along those lines. So it's very well spread, but yes, Commissioner Edwards, to your point, the bulk of that is focused in those two specific facilities.
Right, thank you. So, and you hit on a word that worries me with those issues is liability, right? So, not only do they have the potential to become aesthetically unpleasing, right? You have the liability type issues, that exposure for the county as well. And my second question was, if that's all right, Mr. Chairman, my second question was how, I don't recall from our previous meeting, how in tune are we going to be in seeking out corporate sponsorships? I mean, where do we plow that into our overall plan? We've got some very, very big players in town and coming to town that I'm sure are very much want to be in tune with the communities. And some of the projects we've heard talked about 2 weeks ago and tonight as well. I believe we have a golden opportunity to capitalize on some of our major corporate players that are here and coming here. So I just want to keep that in mind as we move forward with the plan. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Can I jump in off of that question? Can you tell us what you guys have did? Because I know you say you did this all around the world. Can you tell us what you have did in other communities as far as seeking out corporate sponsorship, I guess?
So with us, we generally identify potential opportunities. We haven't actually gone through and done specific identification of sponsorship opportunities in other communities. We essentially laid the framework for it, and Katie may be able to speak a little bit more towards that.
So, yes, you have a lot of potential for corporate opportunities. You've got some great big players here. There's even just for programming growth. You have, I took a look at your chamber and the existing organizations that are here, people that you could reach out to and that you could partner with on all different levels, not just programming, but also for facilities or events, whatever it is, you're looking at. In our master plan, we do talk about utilizing different revenue sources to help support and to help grow this revenue. So sponsorships can be one of them. Grants are another. You guys seem to be in pretty good financial shape as a county, which means that a lot of the grants are matching grants. So if somebody comes in and they say, hey, we're going to give you $1 million, you would also then in turn provide $1 million towards whatever it is you were building or whatever it was, service you were providing. So there's a lot of opportunities. I think, with corporate sponsors, that is my forte. I've been in Parks and Rec for 35 years, and that's what was big for me, creating relationships with communities and businesses and growing those relationships and bringing those people in. And it's all about common philosophy. It's all about what they can get from this, the benefits, the exposure, how that relates to this company and how it can help expand their brand, their continued growth as well. So if it's a youth center, or if it's an aquatic center, or if it's a football field, you reach out to these community members, and these corporations based on their philosophies and what they are involved in and their interests are. That's how you pull them in. So it's strategic when you start to work on that and when you start to develop your plan as to what you're going to do first and how we incorporate all of that as a whole, if that helps at all.
Actually, you turned on the light bulb in my head. Thank you. I do have two examples that I could show. City of Johns Creek, Georgia, immediately after we did their comp plan, I believe this was in their Newtown Park, there was a distinct need for, the community asked for a dog park in that facility. And of course, they expect a higher level facility in Johns Creek. So it was going to be an expensive dog park. And I believe out of that recommendation, one of the things that they pursued was they partnered with Purina. if I remember correctly. And Purina contributed a significant amount of funding into the development of a very, very nice dog park. I wish I could have taken credit for the design, but it was not me. But that was one thing that came out of the comp plan. And I believe it was Cherokee County, Georgia. We did their comprehensive plan in 2002, if I remember correctly. That plan identified the need for a community aquatic center. And I believe in that specific instance, they saw the partnership opportunity, the sponsorship opportunity with, I forget, I'm drawing a blank, the local hospital system. Because to Katie's point, an example of the dog park, if it's a dog park and they have an opportunity to correlate dog park quality with Purina, well, that's a win-win for the community as well as the corporation. In the example of the aquatic center going in on the money, one of the requirements was that they had to have therapeutic aquatics as part of that facility. So the hospital system was able to put in money and basically be able to support and give staff training in order to facilitate those programs. So that's two that I could think of. I'm sure that there will be more as it pops in my head later on.
There's so much potential. It's exciting, for these master plans. When you move forward and you commit, Commissioner Henderson, you talk about these older master plans that never got developed. That is so common across park and rec agencies across the nation. The intent is good. People change, people come and go. And then it just kind of sits and collects dust, right? We're using it as an end cap on our book shelf, which is unfortunate. And we have a lot of those in a lot of agencies. So the fact that you're here today and we're starting fresh and we're reaching out to this community, communities change, demographics change. Your demographics have changed from 10 years ago or 20 years ago to where you are today. And they're going to be changing again as, Aaron mentioned, even by 2030, even our racial demographics are changing. So there's a lot of exciting new things coming, but when we talk about master plan and we talk about growth and we talk about new facilities and what we want to do in new programming, we have to look at the community today and move forward so that we can accommodate those people if it's more younger children, and younger families, and still the older population. We've got, a growing population, so you still do have a lot of youth, and then you have, a population that's slowly getting older as well. So it's great because you have an opportunity to create some wonderful things here. When we went and we walked the parks, there's just a lot of deferred maintenance, and I don't know why that happened, if there was just never money set aside or enough money set aside, but you do have some safety issues. And it's a safety concern when you're on the infield of a baseball field and the outfield is 3 feet lower, and a kid runs to catch a ball and he's falling over or tripping or breaking his ankle from that 3-foot difference. So that's dangerous. There are some things that need to be taken care of and upgraded right away. That's the most important thing here, and then talk about all of the exciting things to come. This is going to be your legacy. You are going to commit to something incredible and wonderful, and you have the opportunity as a whole to make this happen and make this your legacy.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanders.
Have you guys had the opportunity to look at Georgia Tech's Aquatic Center? Have y'all been there, the fitness center in Georgia Tech? I've done some business there, and that was one of my visions at the Georgia Tech Aquatic. Of course, we can't be as elaborate as Georgia Tech to have alumni that spends a lot of money. But with their aquatic center, it pays for itself, not just the pool area, because we host fitness conventions where they have conference area, which is where my idea came from, and making it more functional and multi-purpose. And they also have in the inside commercial spaces. That's what pays for it, because you have businesses in the inside that are purchasing or leasing space and selling product, so that pays for the expenses. So if you get an opportunity, take a look at Georgia Tech's Aquatic Fitness Center, because they've done the work and it works, because you don't only have to use it for aquatics. Conventions can come there and host a lot of events because they have the classrooms and the conference rooms in the inside. So it's multi-purpose, and also what I actually vision, the whole entire fitness center is on the top. So you have people who are also purchasing memberships. So the building is so multi-purpose and functional that it's paying for if that $1,000 pump breaks in that pool, which is very expensive, because I've spoken with a lot of commissioners who have pools, and it's like, don't get it, because of when those pumps break, it costs thousands of dollars just to fix. But with having something in the inside that's taking care of that cost would help with the cost of aquatics.
And I think I agreed 100%. And you know, when Commissioner Mason talked about a multi-use facility where you have recreation components along with aquatics, that's what I built up in Illinois. I built 63,000 square foot facilities with aquatics, an indoor aquatic center with a zero depth pool, the lazy river, the competitive swim components. And then we had fitness, we had 3 full court gymnasiums, fitness centers, meeting rooms, babysitting, 1/8 of a mile indoor track longer because it's surrounds 3 gyms instead of 2. So it's more palatable to be inside working out on a 1/8 of a mile indoor track. Those types of things. So you're right. When you bring in those extra components and the fitness components, look at the success of the YMCA's. It's a perfect balance, because that's how they cover their costs as well. A YMCA would come in, and a YMCA would never come in and build just an aquatic center, possibly in one location. So when we looked at some of these components in the aquatic center, there's also fields and everything that go with that, so that you have, you know, programming areas, programming space, and within that aquatic center there would still be programming elements, whether we added fitness components to it. You know, we talked about some of that. So yes, you make it a multi-use facility to help cover costs. Absolutely.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. Yes, and I just was gonna just kind of talk back a little what you said. You said that all the master plans sometimes they get old and dusty, and you don't do them. And you said, but the bigger picture is that in the future, this master plan now makes it better. But I've struggled since I've kind of been a little bit longer than most. And how could I tell, you know, a family, like a little boy who just worked on my house with his grandfather, Mr. Hardeman, DJ Hardeman, when he went down to factory shows on a hot day, him and his stepfather with his mother, and he got drowned. We didn't have nothing, nowhere for them to go out safe and swim, and he got caught in one of the stucco. So I struggled at trying to tell him, say, well, hey, you know, we should have did better. We should have had a pool in a location where everybody was could go to it and swim in it, but we didn't, because, you know, some of the older master plans got a little dust on it, and we just whip it away. And said, well, we're going to do something better in the future. And now with the future's here, we're forgetting about the stuff that we had kind of talked about. And so, you know, and I hear it all the time, especially here, and I heard our county manager, and he said, you know, Newton 1. How can there be a true Newton 1 when we don't bring all the people together, when we don't keep our word, when we don't do what we're supposed to do? I mean, this is the only thing I'm saying. I'm saying, I still say, no matter how much dust get on the plan, you're only as good as your word. And I'm just asking the question, now maybe this to the board, you know, how good are we with our word? We should keep our word. If there's a project that's undone in the community, then we should want to do it. If we need a fire station, $5 million, we did it unbudgeted. We voted to do it, and I voted with it, because there was a need in a community for a fire station. And then we manned it. We didn't say, well, hey, we pay for the folks to be there and train them. That was good. But yet, when you think about a little old measly, or maybe $1 million, $1.5 million of SPLOST funding, and we got more SPLOST money than we actually needed, and doing something for a plan that just had dust on it. Just, everybody moved on to something else different. But I think that, this is me, I still say that we're only good as our word. And I, you know, I always hear the Newton one, but Newton cannot truly be a one until we pull everybody into it, until we keep our word. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? You have anything else that you want to present to the board?
No, sir, other than, as Dwayne noted earlier, after our final round of public presentation of this information, we'll be able to wrap up the draft report, and we'll be submitting that to staff for them to distribute to. Obviously, it will have a lot more in-depth information for you all to review and analyze. So as you look at that information, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself directly or to Dwayne, and we'll be happy to assist you with anything you need. And again, we appreciate your time. I know it's a lot to digest, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Guys, let's seek a motion that we adjourn, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner, I think, the Commissioner Henderson, and second by Edwards. All in favor? Thank you. We stand adjourned. Thank you. Commissioner Henderson. Yeah, just give them that until we, yeah. Commissioner Edwards. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Huh? Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Good evening. Thank y'all for being here today. Today is March 15th, 2022. Our thought for tonight is the secret of change is to focus all your energy, not fighting the old, but on building the new. I guess that's author unknown. I'm gonna go ahead and officially call this meeting to order tonight. Tonight I want to ask if Commissioner Sanders, if you would lead us in our pledge, and Commissioner Cowan, I'm sorry, Commissioner Sanders, if you would lead us in our invocation. Commissioner Cowan, if you would lead us in our pledge.
May we bow our heads. Father God, in the name of Jesus, I thank you for this day. I thank you for this moment that we are allowed to service our citizens and have this opportunity to make this county a great county, to provide what we need for everyone in this county, our taxpayers, everyone that's involved in the community service, involved in the community projects, Lord. Lord, guide us, lead us to make the right decisions this evening, and make sure that we're doing it in the will of the people and with a kind heart. In Jesus' name that we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Tonight we want to take an opportunity to welcome our county manager, interim county manager, Mr. Jarvis Sims. I want to welcome you tonight, sir. You have anything that you want to say before we get started?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am truly thankful and honored to serve as interim county manager for Newton County. I'm committed to serve Newton County as a public servant leader who places Newton County values and traditions at the core while also embracing innovative ideas. I look forward to working with the commissioners, elected officials, department heads, and staff, as well as the community and the business leaders to build on the successes that Newton County has achieved thus far. We are one Newton moving forward. And again, I'm very thankful and honored to serve in this capacity. Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, we got a couple of things we need to add to the agenda tonight. First, we want to, under the consent agenda, we want to add a request from the juvenile court. They want to apply for a grant, delinquency financial technical prevention grant. They have a hard deadline of March the 18th. It says it's not a match, but they would like the permission to apply for this grant, so we want to get that on the consent agenda, please. Also, we want to add item number 26A. 26A, we want to add. And this would be board discussion and consideration to utilize ARPA funds for broadband in amount of $6,127.63. This will be in the underserved Dial Mill area. We want to get that also on the agenda for item number 26A. With those changes, I seek a motion that we approve the agenda, please. Thank you, Commissioner. It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Next, we have citizens' comments. This is an opportunity that we allow citizens to make comments about agenda topics only. Agenda topics only. You have 3 minutes to do so. Please state your name, your address for the record, please. Agenda topics only. Thank you. Next, we have the chairman's report. I got a quick report I want to give. I was selected to do the Dancing with the Stars for Project Renewal. Don't let everybody laugh. Much of a dancer. So what Project Renewal is about, it's an organization that supports domestic violence. And I have been chosen to be one of the contestants to fundraise and raise money. We'll be doing it this Saturday, the 19th. Again, please don't laugh. Tickets are sold for $30 each. Every ticket sold is counted as a vote for the individual. So county officials are doing it. I'm doing it myself, and our DA, Randy McGinley, is doing it as well. Neither one of us can dance really well, so. But yeah, we would love to have your support. Again, that's Dancing with the Stars this weekend, March the 19th, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. We're gonna have, if nothing else, we're gonna have a good time, and we're gonna try to raise some money for domestic violence, which everyone in this community knows domestic violence is on the increase and there's a need, so please keep that in mind. Mr. Sims, you have anything in your report?
Yes, sir. I do have the monthly county manager's report. From our HR department, we are reporting 718 regular full-time, part-time employees, 404 seasonal election workers. We added 12 new members to our team. We had 6 that separated from our organization. Our work orders by district. For District 1, we had 73 work orders completed. District 2, 43 work orders completed. District 3, 66 work orders completed. District 4, 47 work orders completed. District 5, 116 work orders. From our LMAC patching, we completed patching at Ellis Road, District 3 and 5. Macedonia Church Road, District 3 and 5. For the 2017 SPLOS asphalt patching, Alcovey, we did District 5, Duncan Road, which is District 3, and Radcliffe Trace, which is District 2. From our Development Services Department, we're reporting for commercial primary, revenue collected $135,375. For multifamily, we had 52 permits issued. Estimated cost of issued $6 million. Revenue collected $120,341. For our budget workshop, we have budget workshop scheduled for the week of 28th through April 1st. On Tuesday, March 29th, is from 9 to 5 with our department heads, and they're presenting to the BOC. On Wednesday, March 30th, our constitutional officers and elected officials are presenting to the Board of Commissions, and that also is again from 9 to 5. And on Thursday, March 31st, the appropriations are going to be presenting to the Board of Commissioners, and that's from 9 to 12. We also have scheduled workshops. Our citizen workshop is scheduled on Tuesday, April the 5th from 6 to 7. And we also have another workshop scheduled for on Tuesday, April 19th from 6 to 7. On the radar, our silent auction fundraiser for our seniors. As you know, we love our seniors here in Newton County. They're going to be auctioning off ceramics, art, quilting, sewing, and crocheting on March 14th, actually March 14th through the 17th, and the closing bids end on March 17th at 4 o'clock. Please come out and show your support for our seniors. Also on the radar, our free pet vaccination and microchip clinic, which is scheduled for March 26th from 9 to noon. And this is open to Newton County residents only, limited to 3 animals per household, and the first 200 pets are free. We also discussed earlier today our master plan public meeting that's scheduled for March 24th, and that is scheduled at 6:30 at Turner Lake Banquet Room. celebration and highlights. We'd like to recognize one of our own, Ms. Walker Hughes from our office, for receiving the 2021 Spirit of Excellence Award from the Newton County Chamber of Commerce. We acknowledge her and appreciate the positive energy and the operating excellence she brings to the county as well as to the community. Thank you and great job, Walker. Mr. Chairman, that concludes. No, I'm sorry, right off the presses, we just found out today, about 40 minutes ago, that our water plant was recognized as Water Plant of the Year in our state.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Ms. Walker, and congratulations to James Brown at Water Resources. They do a great job. Thank you. Next, the consent agenda. I seek a motion that we approve, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. It passes 5-0. Next is item number 10, juvenile court. Judge Candy Branch is requesting to add a full-time position of truancy intake officer. Okay, Judge Brandon's here. Thank you for being here tonight.
You want me to put my mask on? Can you hear me all right, or take off, or
Your preference?
making sure? Okay.
Yep.
I'm triple vaxxed. All right. All right. Well, I appreciate that y'all hearing from us this evening. So I brought with me Judge Hillary Edgar, who's the associate judge here in juvenile court, as well as Catherine Ryder, who is our court administrator. They're going to go over some brief numbers with you and what we're asking for, and I'm going to kind of come in and explain the finances and what I'm asking for afterwards. But the overall view of what we are looking for is another intake officer that would specialize as a truancy officer. I know that all of you are aware of all the issues we had with COVID, and that we had kids that were virtual. We've got a lot of kids that are behind now in their studies, and we always had some issues with truancy, kids not wanting to go to school, and what we call educational neglect, which are much younger children whose parents, for whatever reason, are not sending them to school. We are looking to create a specific person to deal with this. Our Board of Education is very, I would say they're overwhelmed. I think that's putting it lightly, because our court is becoming overwhelmed. There are over 1,000 at this point cases of truancy and educational neglect here in Newton County, and we haven't even gotten into our busy season with referrals that are generally start around April, again, for those referrals. So before I get into more of that and tell you what I want this officer to do and kind of want that board to look like, I'm going to let Judge Edgar tell you kind of how we started this process, and then I'll come back to you. Okay? Go ahead, Judge Edgar.
So as you all may know, Judge Branch is new as of last year, and then I came on shortly after, and we started looking at and assessing the things that juvenile court is required to do. And one of the things, as we ran into this truancy question, the referral of cases, we started looking at what is the juvenile court's role. And we are a little bit unique compared to other courts, obviously, because we're dealing with children and our processes are different. But with respect to truancy, we have a role in both prevention and intervention that most courts typically do not have. And specifically, we are, counties are mandated to have a student attendance and school climate committee. And that mandate's actually been on record since, I believe, 2005, and for some reason we've never gotten one going, or never gotten one the way that it's supposed to be going here. And so on February 24th, Judge Ott, Chief Judge of the Circuit, signed an order establishing this committee. We will, in juvenile court, be the spearhead for this. We've been working with Ms. Fury and the school system to get it started on that side. It will bring together high-level work on school climate and school attendance. And then that, of course, allows us to then do some more monthly type interventions. So I'll turn over at that point to Katie, right?
So as Judge Branch said, my name is Catherine Ryder. I'm the court administrator for the court. And in that role, one of my responsibilities is to supervise our intake. So right now we have 2. They are both very hardworking and dedicated, but very overwhelmed right now with the amount of referrals that we have coming in. So obviously, the children and youth we serve in programs that we have. So for delinquency, traffic, CHINs, which includes the ungovernable and the truancy charges, and then educational neglect, which Judge Branch mentioned, are kids that are younger. So some of the day-to-day functionings include for our intake officers now, managing their current caseload, which are initial appointments, follow-up appointments, referrals and referral management, crisis calls, and the liaison between agencies. So that may be counseling agencies, the school system, DFACS, depending on which agencies the child's already involved in. Managing all open cases awaiting court dates, assisting in managing court dates. We also accept any walk-ins from the community at any point. No one is ever turned down for assistance. We try to link them with resources in our community if we can. And if we can't, we lead them in the right direction. Some of those walk-ins include private dependencies, which are children that have been neglected in some form or fashion, judicial bypasses, and then community members that just honestly need assistance with either for themselves or grandchildren or their children. We also do on-call. So our intake officers are available 7 days a week, 24/7, and we do alternate that, and right now it is only 2. And we do have 1 contract person that does share in those roles. And then obviously last but definitely not least, the day-to-day office duties, which are maintaining their files, scanning, maintaining the phone systems, and answering any questions that may come in. So needless to say, there are no slow days in the intake department. We stay very busy. And as of today, the juvenile court has 239 open cases between 2 people. And I'm actually the court administrator, and I also have a caseload right now. I'm just trying to chip in and kind of help the intake department. We have noticed an increase in the number overall of the complaints, just as in general. And when I say that, I mean delinquency, traffic, and our CHINs, and which includes the truancy. Out of the caseloads managed by our department, truancy and educational neglect are the most difficult because they tend to be the tip of the iceberg. And so what I mean by that is just, there's a reason why these kids are not attending school the way they should, whether it be something going on in the home. A lot of what we see is domestic violence issues, substance abuse issues, past trauma that either the children or the parents that may have, and honestly, it's just unresolved. And so once we get in and figure out the root of the problem, there is a lot more than just truancy or educational neglect. As of today, the Newton County Board of Education, and I know that Judge Branch mentioned that, but I actually got an exact number this morning from Ms. Zielinski, which is a social worker at the school system, and there is 1,143 attendance only referrals that could potentially lead to the filing of an educational neglect or a truancy complaint to the juvenile court. That is 2 people that we have currently that could possibly have that type of caseload, which is obviously not doable. The juvenile court is not currently equipped to manage that type of volume. With the help of the proposed truancy officer position, the selected candidate will solely be responsible for the management of the ed neglect truancy caseload and the liaison between the court, DFACS, and the school system, and all other parties needed individually for that family. The truancy intake officer will provide early intervention and diversion services to address individual needs of each family. The position will also manage truancy case plan meetings with truancy board members and families to create case plans to address the issue that present for that specific family. The position will also be in charge of creating, management, and directing the school attendance committee, which was mentioned by Judge Edgar, and they will. That is obviously the statutory requirement. If this position is approved, the 2 current intake officers will have more time to dedicate to the actual delinquency caseload, which also needs to be addressed in our community so we can make sure those kids are getting what they need as well. And then CHINs, which is our ungovernable, which is another beast in itself. And then also our traffic offenses. We do deal with all of those. So I just want to thank you in advance for your consideration.
Thank you.
All right, and then I'm going to just I'm just gonna put this, in layman's terms as to what I want this to look like, and this is kind of what I'm asking you to do. The reason I want this officer is that my overall goal is to set up a truancy board. That's gonna include our truancy officer from the court, the Department of Family and Children's Services, the Department of Juvenile Justice, our law enforcement agencies, basically the head of our SROs in our school system, obviously our Board of Education social workers, basically putting together, I feel like you've got a village here, and we need to use our village to try to prevent as many kids as we can coming directly into the court system. There are two distinct types of cases that we see. We have truancy and educational neglect cases that I think can be handled outside of the court if we do it this way, because it may be things as simple as their housing issues that DFACS can help with. They've been a lot of moving, or they've been transient. There's kids that don't want to go to school because they have anxiety issues, and we need to set them up with counseling services. You take those types of cases and put those with this board, I think that we can prevent a lot of these kids, especially the little ones, coming in with their parents and being traumatized coming into a court system. They don't need to see me. You don't need to get to me until we know there's more of an underlying problem. That doesn't mean that all these cases, that there are some that aren't going to come and see myself or see Judge Edgar. And I say that because Ms. Ryder gave you a little piece of that. A lot of times we will also see truancy or educational neglect cases with families that have a lot more going on. What I'm trying to do is prevent them from coming to see me until it's absolutely necessary, because by the time they see me, a child's either going on probation because it's considered an actual charge and they're gonna have that on their record, or they're coming into foster care because there may be more issues going on. It may be surprising to some of you to know, but some parents don't send their kids to school when they have really significant drug issues. You think that they would to get them out of their hair, but they don't, because they're afraid their children are going to tell on them. So I have got issues of, I'm taking kids into foster care from the bench, sometimes based just on educational neglect, that I feel like we could serve in this community and do this in a different way without having to put these children on probations, or for having to pull them from their families when there are other ways that we can handle this. So what I'm asking for, and I'm just gonna give you the numbers, and I did get, poor Miss White in finances, I torture her on the daily, but because y'all know I don't do math well. But let me give you an overview as to where we are right now and where I am in my budget. For starters, I would like to have this person in by May 9th. If I can get them in by May 9th, and I think that you've got the sheet in front of you, it would cost, the total cost would be $4,936.02. I have that in my budget that can come out of this year's budget. What I'm asking for then is a new employee, so for the following budget for the next fiscal year, the cost of that employee is going to be $38,205. I have spoken to Ms. White. By now, most of us should have used about 80% of our working budget. I've used 71%. We are estimating that at the end of this budget cycle that I will still have saved and given back to the county approximately $101,000 that I did not spend on my budget. I've been trying to be very fiscally conservative, and so I'm asking, once I've given that back, to have that in consideration, that we could have this officer and a new intake officer. I know that Ms. Ryder gave you some numbers, but as of just between January 5th and February 25th, we had 87 new truancy or educational neglect cases come into our office. It's a lot, and I think that we can prevent some of that, and we can do better good in the community without having all that come in. So I appreciate everybody's time and consideration. Thank you so much for listening to that piece. I think I'm on your next agenda item though as well, so I'll stand here.
Okay. Let's take care of this one. Commissioners, can I get a motion, please, so we can get this out on the floor?
I'll make a motion to approve a full-time position of truancy intake officer.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Cowan to approve this, second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? All in favor? Pass 5-0.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. You are next on the agenda. Item number 11 is.
I'll stay.
Yeah. Ready
All right,
when you're ready.
okay, I'll take it then. Okay, so the next issue up, and this is actually pretty simple and clear cut. We are looking to change providers for our family treatment court, the treatment provider. We've already gone through this. I know our wonderful county attorney over here has helped tremendously, and we already had everything approved and able to do that. It doesn't change any of the amount of the money that we already spend. They're going to do it for the exact same amount of cost. The new provider provides some extra things to us that I just think are helpful. They've got bilingual therapists that work there, which I find to be helpful. We're dealing more with bilingual families, with parents and with children. And they can also, the bulk of their therapists and their treatment providers are certified and they're licensed, where our current provider doesn't have that. And so they're able to offer a little bit more. They're a core provider where they can bill insurance, and they're already set up with the Department of Family and Children's Services to bill directly to them. So it would not change anything. We are required to give a 15-day notice to our current provider, which we've already drafted the new contract for the new provider, which is exactly the same as the other one. And we've also got the letter ready to go once we get ready to give a 15-day notice. So I'm just asking permission to change it. It won't change anything financially.
Thank you. Commissioners, I seek a motion, please.
Make that motion to allow the juvenile court proceedings terminate the maintenance provider and verbal contract for youth professional services for family treatment court.
Can I get a second? Thank you. It's a motion by Commissioner Cowan and second by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I hate to be nitpicky,
Go ahead.
but I want to be thorough and make sure this sticks if we vote yes. So, Patrick, is this subject to our procurement guidelines?
No, it's not. It's being a professional service. You don't have to follow those guidelines.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Any more discussions? All in favor? It passed 5-0. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is item number 12, Finance Department, Ms. Brittany White.
Okay, I know it's almost 7:30, so I will get through this quickly. Tonight I will be presenting the February 2022 financials. February is our 8th month of the year, which puts us around 67% through our fiscal year. I'll start with our general fund revenues. In February, we brought in $17.7 million in revenues, which put us at 59.9 for the year, and that puts us at 77.27 of our revenues. That is high, higher than the trending 67, but at this point in time of the year, we have brought in most of our tax revenues, so we will see our revenues slow down through the rest of the fiscal year. And these two graphs just show the actuals per month and the actuals to budget for the year. Our general fund expenditures. To date, we have spent 45.4%. In February, we spent 15.1 million. And our actuals to date are 58.24, so we are trending below the 66, 67% of where we should be. So it does look like our expenditures could be lower than our budgeted projections this year. These graphs show our monthly amounts for the year, and then the graph below shows our actuals to budget for the year. So at this point in the year, our revenues are $2 million over our expenditures. In our enterprise funds, the water fund, the revenues for the year have been $6.6 million, and the expenses have been $4.2, netting an income of $1.8. Our solid waste have been $4.9 million for the year. The expenses have been $3.1, net income of $1.3 million. And our Gaithers and Factory Shoals, $197,000 revenue, expenses $118,000, netting an income of $79,000. In our SPLOS, we have one open SPLOS 11 project, which is the historic jail. Our total there is $1,036,000. Our 2017 SPLOST, we have a total of $15.8 million available in that fund. Our collections to date are 68.7, which puts us roughly 19.2 million over what our projection was. And in our impact fee fund, our balance is $4.1 million. And that wraps up my presentation. So I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. We're going to do a quick question right quick, and then we got to go to zoning. Commissioner Sanders.
I just have a quick question with the solid waste. You said it's the expenses is 4.9 million. Want to make sure.
Sorry, I might have, their revenues are 4.9.
And
and the expenses are 3.1.
And the income is only 1.3.
1.3. They do tend to be income heavy in the beginning of the year because that's when most of the hang tag collections occur. So their revenues they tend to be heavier in the beginning of the year, and then they slow down throughout the year.
Because I know the county, we give them $6 million in the budget. So how is that? 'Cause
The
it seemed
county
like
gave around 600,000.
600.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you see any revenue that's actually coming in for us actually funding the solid waste?
So the solid waste revenues they generally are hang tags and then the landfill fees. So if you come to the landfill and dump. So that's where their two main revenue sources are. And then the county offsets 600,000, which goes to pay the debt service piece.
Okay.
So their revenues for the year were 6.8 million. That was the budgeted revenues. And so at this point in the year, their revenues have been 4.9 million. You're welcome.
Thank you. It's 7:30. Thank you, Brittany. It's 7:30. Mr. Judy, if you would, please come on up. It's time for us to go into our zoning. Thank you for being here tonight.
It's a pleasure, Chairman. Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you for hearing our two zoning petitions this evening. Our first item before us this evening is a rezoning case. This is REZ 22-000001. The property is located at 3231 Highway 212 and it's 5.9 acres. It is currently zoned mobile home subdivision, and their proposed rezoning is to go to agricultural residential. It is located in the South River watershed in Commissioner District Number 1, and Mr. Foons is the applicant. The applicant's intent, again, is to rezone from mobile home subdivision to AR agricultural residential. Conclusion. Given the existing AR residential zonings in the area, as well as the fact that this rezoning will decrease the allowable density on this property, staff is of the opinion that the rezoning may be appropriate for the area. Recommended conditions. Should this petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved AR agricultural residential conditional subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. 1, to the owner's agreement to abide by the following. A, must obtain a variance to section 510020 A2B for an accessory structure in the front yard that is not used for agricultural purposes. B, must obtain an approved variance to section 510310I to have an accessory structure greater than 1,000 square feet for a business. C, must obtain a conditional use permit in order to be able to store business-related equipment on the property. D, any required permits must be obtained from the Department of Development Services before any construction or development on the property. This is an aerial location of the property. Again, the property is zoned MHS, Mobile Home Subdivision. The existing future land use map is RR, Rural Residential, so this would be an appropriate zoning for this flume designation. The watershed map is in the South River watershed. This is a site plan of the existing home and of the proposed accessory structure. What you cannot see here is that the top of the picture is actually facing the road. And in an AR zoning district, you can have an accessory structure in your front yard, but it is supposed to be for agricultural purposes. Should the petitioner desire to use this for his business, then he would need to go through the conditions as enumerated in the petition. And that concludes the staff presentation, and if there's any questions, and I think our applicant is present.
Thank you. It is approximately 7:35. We're going to go into our public hearing comments portion. If the applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight, if you would, please come at this time. We have 10 minutes to do so. Please state your name, your address for the record, please. The applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight. If you would, please come and state your name, your address for the record, please. You have 10 minutes to do so.
My name is Gerson Funes, and I'm here for 3231 Highway 212 in Covington. And I got 10 minutes to speak, or
you have 10 minutes to speak, or if you have someone that want to speak behind you, I wouldn't utilize the whole 10 minutes.
Okay, no, I'm good. The only thing I want to clarify, they keep saying that we want to do it as a strictly business purposes. In reality, it's not. We just want to put our utility equipment inside undercover, just like our neighbors have it. It is agriculture. We do have animals. We do have pets, but obviously our belongings, it's not going to be commercialized. We don't need it to be commercialized. We don't have commercial vehicles going in and out. It's just for us to store our belongings, like our neighbors on the right and neighbors on the left. They both own businesses, but they just work out of their shed, but nobody could tell. And they're right in front of the 212 as well. The other property, which is my brother, I will have to translate for him when he comes up here as well. But that's pretty much what I have to say about it. And another question. The other permits, I'm guessing they're going to walk me through of what we need to do after this, because I know there's a lot of variances and I think 4 other options that I'm not aware of that we need to go through. Okay. That's it.
Yeah, let's take one thing at a time.
Okay.
Okay, all right. You done?
I'm done.
Okay. Anyone else? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? Anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? Anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? Thank you. That portion is closed. We also allow those that want to oppose tonight. You also have 10 minutes to do so. If you would, please come now and state your name and your address for the record, please. Anyone want to oppose tonight? Anyone wants to oppose tonight? Thank you. Ms. Judy. I think this is District 1, Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. They had me at decreased density. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve case number REZ 22-000001.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a second, please? Second. Thank you, sir. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? Commissioner Cowan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judy, is there currently a mobile home park at anything on this property?
No, sir. This property and the next one you will be considering has not been used as a mobile home subdivision. It just had the zoning from, I believe, the 80s.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more discussion? All in favor? It passed 5-0. Thank you. Mr. Judy.
Yes, sir. The next item and final item before you this evening is rezoning case REZ 22-000002. This property is located at 3255 Highway 212. It's 6.03 acres. It is currently zoned as a mobile home subdivision, and the request is to downzone to AR, agricultural residential. It is in the South River watershed in Commissioner District Number 1, and the petitioner is Mr. Funes, and my apology, that's...
Okay.
The applicant's intent, again, is to rezone from mobile home subdivision to AR, agricultural residential. The land use and density. The property is developed with a single-family residence, but is limited to uses and structures associated with the mobile home subdivision. Conclusion, given the existing AR agricultural residential zonings in the area, as well as the fact that the rezoning will decrease the allowable density on this property, staff is of the opinion that the rezoning may be appropriate for this area. Recommended conditions. Should this petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved AR Agricultural Residential, conditional subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and offerings in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. 1, to the owner's agreement to abide by the following. A, any required permits must be obtained from the Department of Development Services before any construction or development on the property. This is an aerial view. Again, this is the neighboring property to the case that you have just heard. Again, the zoning map showing it as a mobile home subdivision designation. The existing future land use map shows as rural residential, which AR is one of the zoning designations that is appropriate. It is in the South River watershed. And here's a survey plat of the property, and as you can see, they do have an existing single-family home on the property. And that concludes this one. And I did fail to mention in the first case as well as this one, the Planning Commission did recommend approval unanimously for both of these petitions.
Thank you so much. It is approximately 6:41. We're going to open it up for our public hearing. The applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight, you have 10 minutes to do so. The applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight, please state your name and your address for the record, please. Mr. Funes, thank you. You said you're going to translate for him?
Yeah,
Okay.
good evening. My name is Marvin Funes. This is my brother Gerson. He translated for me. This speak better English.
Good evening. Go ahead, sir.
Well, he has very little to say. He just wants to put his name and, I guess, on the record.
Okay.
As is required.
Okay. All right. That's everything you want to say?
We're good.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else want to speak in favor tonight? Anyone else want to speak in favor tonight? Anyone else want to speak in favor tonight? That portion of our public hearing is closed. We also allow 10 minutes for those that would like to oppose tonight. You may come at this time. Please state your name and your address for the record, please. Anyone want to oppose tonight? Anyone want to oppose tonight? Thank you. Mr. Judy and Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This time I'd like to make a motion to approve rezoning case number REZ 22-000002.
Can I get a second, please? Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? Commissioner Cowan.
Commissioner Edwards, you want that with the staff conditions also? I'm not sure you mentioned that on the first one either, so.
You did on the first one, I think.
He did? Okay. So with the staff conditions?
Do I need to restate the motion?
Please.
Okay. Motion to approve rezoning case number REZ 22-000002 with staff recommended conditions.
Thank you.
Commissioner Mason, you second that? Thank you. Any more discussion? Any more discussion? All in favor? Thank you. It passes 5-0. Thank you. I'm going to use chairman privilege tonight to do alcohol license so Ms. Judy won't have to stay. Alcohol license final reading. CVS Pharmacy store number 8418-10267, Highway 36, Covington, Georgia 30014. Applicant Bernard Kennedy, Sr. That's District 5. District 5.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the final reading for alcohol license at CVS Pharmacy, store number 8418.
Can I get a second, please? Can I get a second? There's a motion by Commissioner Cowan and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Item number 28, first reading, United Brown Bridge, Inc., Foodland, 15036 Brown Bridge Road, Covington, Georgia, 316. Applicant Rita Journal, District 2, first reading. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Judy. Next, we can move back over to item number 13. Board consideration, fire services, requesting additional splash funding, requesting to utilize $150,000 in available unallocated splash collections for the full acquisition of a fire truck. Ms. Brittany.
At this time, I'm going to ask Jeff Prine, our special project consultant, to come up and assist with this next several items. And then we also have this spreadsheet that we put together. And then I'm also going to get, since the first one is involving fire, I'm going to ask Chief Connor to come up as well. So the spreadsheet on the big screen here shows that our estimated unallocated collections for the SPLOST will be $18.5 million. In previous meetings, the board has approved 3 projects to utilize these unallocated funds. We have approved E911 radio project, we've approved Washington Street and the CID. So the amounts for those have been $9 million for the E911 radio project, $400,000 for Washington Street, and $320,000 for CID. The remaining funds of the estimated unallocated collections are below is what we're seeking approval tonight. So we'll start first with fire services, fire truck. They did originally allocate $792,000 for the purchase of a fire truck. However, prices have increased since this SPLOST was voted on in 2017. So they are seeking $150,000 to purchase a fire truck and equipment necessary, which brings it to $942,683.
Yes, as Ms. Brittany said, we were privileged enough to get $792,000 in the 17 splosh, but with the increase of metal, just vehicles in general, this is the very same truck that we've already purchased 3, and technically the truck and the equipment went from $680,000 to the truck is just $725,000. So we do not have enough money to put the needed equipment, the hose, the nozzles, the air packs, the ticks, stuff to equip it so that our firefighters can do their job. So the extra $150,000 will be utilized to purchase the equipment to put on the truck that is in that 2017 splosh.
Thank you. Commissioners, I seek a motion. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? It passed 5-0. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to skip away from the SPLOST for a minute, and we're going to go to a fire department budget amendment since Chief Connor is already up here. There, you know when the truck was wrecked?
It was about a year ago.
Okay, around a year ago, there was a fire engine that was totaled out in an accident. So we have recently received insurance proceeds of $213,000. They are looking to purchase a used fire engine, a 2010 used fire engine. That will cost $345,000, estimate rough amount. So that we do need $131,492 to make up the difference of what we received in insurance proceeds. So we are requesting to utilize savings that they have in their regular employee line items, because they do have vacancies, to fund the difference.
Thank you. Commissioners, I seek a motion, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? Commissioner Sanders.
I just need to know the cost because it's not on the agenda.
The cost is $345,000.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Thank you. It passes 5-0. Ms. Brittany. Thank you,
next-
Chief.
The next item on the agenda is, I'll direct your attention back to the SPLOST spreadsheet here. Spring Hill Park is the next item. So originally, Spring Hill Park had $495,000 allocated to the project. The total project is going to cost roughly, if we build it out according to the master plan, $3.5 million. So we are seeking $3 million to contribute toward the Spring Hill Park project.
Thank you. Commissioners, I seek a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve a $3 million transfer from the unallocated funds for this. And just as a comment on this, these people have been waiting a long time for this project. And the amount of money that was originally put into SPLOST was, under today's grading cost today, you won't even be able to get it graded for the $495,000. So I think it's well worthwhile for that project to be done. So we'd like to make a motion to approve that.
Can I get a second, please?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's been motioned by Commissioner Cowan and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What district is that in? How you have it listed?
District 5.
It's in
Correct.
District 5 after right now.
District 5 right
Okay.
now. It'll-
But, okay, I was just wondering because I thought.
Just to clear that up, it's District 5 right now. It will change to District 4 after January 1st. Is that correct?
Thank you. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And a point of clarification especially for the public. Brittany, these are SPLOST projects, already approved SPLOST projects, correct?
Yes, every one of these was already on the SPLOST referendum. Thank you.
Including the fire portion.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All in favor? It passed 5-0. Thank you. Ms. Brittany.
All right, we'll move on to item number 16, which is the skate park at Denny Dobbs. There was a District 2 improvement project in the original SPLOST referendum. We have already built out phase 1 of the skate park, so this additional $750,000 would build out phase 2, which would complete the master plan of the skate park.
Thank you. I seek a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the requesting to utilize $750,000 in available unallocated SPLOST collections to complete the master plan build-out for the Denny Dobbs Skate Park.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a second, please? Second. Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. 5-0. Ms. Brittany.
Item number 17 is the senior service expansion. There was a senior service expansion project on the 2017 SPLOST referendum. The original allocation for that was around $1.7 million. They have built out the first phase of the senior expansion, but the $1,125,000 would allow them to build out the second phase of the senior expansion.
Thank you. I seek a motion, please. Commissioner, I think this is Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This senior services, as of to January 1st, is in District 4. I think after January 1st, it'll be in District 5. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But make a long story short, that's a much needed expansion over the senior services, and we have been working hard with the senior services. I think along with everybody on this board to make it better than for our seniors. With that, I make a motion to approve.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a second, please? Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. 5-0. Ms. Brittany.
The last one for the SPLOST unallocated collections will be the Westside Youth Facility. So there originally was $495,000 available to utilize for the Westside Youth Facility, and we are requesting $3,755,000 of unallocated SPLOST collections to complete the Westside Youth Facility.
Thank you. I seek a motion, please.
I move to accept the cost of $3,755,000 allocated from the unallocated SPOS collection for the West Side Youth Facility.
Second.
Thank you. Second. Second. Commissioner, you second. Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Sanders and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. C. You know, there's something that is over the years, as I've said, has been much needed in District 3. And I just want to just applaud Commissioner Sanders for her hard work in her district to bring something really good to District 3.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This might be a question for Jeff. I know in all of our other projects, we have a master plan. Have we actually seen the master plan for this project as of yet?
So while we haven't completed a master plan, what we have done is we have met with Commissioner Sanders and began that process. So she's got a very deliberate idea, concept of what she's looking for. She's also been working with Dwayne and Parks and Rec staff to look at options of where that facility might go over in her district. And so we're at the beginning of that process.
Great. Well, I fully support this project. I think it is definitely needed. I just want to make sure that we'll have a master plan in place so that the board will be able to see exactly what's going to happen. The citizens will be able to see, so there won't be any surprises by anybody. We'll be able to see the master plan of what that facility is actually going to look like before there any construction that starts.
Yes, sir. What we've talked about is the first step, if approved tonight, would be to engage a design consultant and to work with the commissioner and staff from Parks and Rec to program and come up with a site and site that facility and then bring that back to you at the appropriate time for us to then go out and seek out a construction company to help us build that.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. All in favor? Stand 5-0. Thank you. Ms. Brittany, this you as well?
I'm going to let Jeff spearhead the next few, and I will stand back here for any assistance.
Okay.
So one of our projects in Plus 17 is the Yellow River Trail System. As many of you may remember, we hired Los Design last year to help us do a master plan of the northern segment of the community. We brought that before you in a work session, I believe it was in November of last year. Received a few comments, but approval of that. One of the things that you asked us to do was to go back and do a southern segment master plan. So this amendment to their contract is doing two things. One, for $33,500, we will engage them to complete the county's other half of the county master plan, which, once again, that'll be used to bring back to you, garner your information, your ultimate approval with that. So with that, we will have a complete county master plan for the Yellow River Trail System. The second part of this amendment is for us to move forward with the design of the first segment of work that we want to do on the trail system. So we've looked, working with Newton Trails and with Parks and Rec and also with Chester, we've identified our first segment of trail that we want to work on, which is going to be associated with the work that Chester is doing on the widening of the Brown Bridge Road and Bridge from the bridge over to the signal that goes into the school. We will then work in a partnership with the Oaks developer to do a segment of the trail going north along that particular area of the Yellow River. And so this would be for them to do design services associated with that.
Thank you. Commissioner, I seek a motion, please. Guys, I know we got our singers here tonight. And I ain't want to call out no singers, but can somebody Can somebody please nudge that senior and tell them to cut their phone off? Oh, man. Let me try that again. Can I get a motion, please? You motion. First and second, okay. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. It passes 5-0. Mr. Bryan?
Yes, sir. So, as Brittany alluded earlier, earlier this year, you allocated $400,000 that would go toward additional scope of work that was necessary to help renovate and move the ball down the road at the Washington Street Community Center. We have now negotiated all those improvements with Sunbelt, who's our general contractor. This is an amendment to their contract to complete that scope of work. What that entails is additional renovation work inside the building. It entails adding an outdoor classroom and storage facility. And it also provides us with a complete renovation of their kitchen with all new kitchen equipment as well. So we're asking for you to approve the amendment so we can continue moving with that renovation project.
Thank you, sir. Can I seek a motion, please?
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Well, you know, well, I'm just very appreciative for the board's approval for Washington Street Community Center, which is I can remember the first time that I went over there and got monies approved from Splash for them to occupy the building. And so now we just went on to just another step and hopefully renovate it so it can last for years and years in District 4. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Mr. Prime.
Yeah.
Mr. Prime.
Okay. So earlier last year, we seeked out a design builder to help us do an assessment of putting in an emergency power system at the administrative building downtown. Sunbelt was selected as our design build team. They have gone through an extensive assessment of the building to determine the electrical systems and also in the size of the generator that will be necessary and the other improvements to make that facility come up to standard and to life safety standards. This amendment to their contract would be to allow us to move into the construction phase of that particular project and move forward with completing that effort as well. And the amendment's for $750,000.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Can I seek a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, do we believe this will be the total?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yes,
so
we've put in some contingency in here to carry us for escalation cost, but also what we're doing is by doing this now and allowing them to order the generator, which is the biggest ticket, we can lock that price in.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else? All in favor? Thank you. 5-0. Great man here tonight. Yep. Thank you. Next is information and services. Greg Mann, sir, if you would please come on down. Thank you for being here tonight, Greg.
Good evening. Good to see everyone. What I have for your consideration is renewal of our contract for our closed port email security system. We get about 8,000 to 10,000 roughly a day in mails incoming to the county. This system classifies basically 1/3 of those as being either spam or malicious, and this helps keeps us safe and lets me sleep a little bit at night.
Thank you. Want to tell us what the cost is $6,873.78, and this is budgeted.
That is budgeted.
Yes, sir. Commissioners, I seek a motion, please. Can I get a second? Thank you, sirs. There's a motion by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? All in favor? It passed 5-0. Thank you. Thank you. Next is item number 23, board consideration of relaxing the Newton County mask policy to allow wearing a facial mask as optional. You want to take that or you want to take it? Thank you. Thank you. Guys, as you know, the numbers are going down. They're on a decline. Judge Wynn, Superior Court has issued a mandate that they are relaxing the mask policies over at the Judicial Center. I believe that we also need to make it optional for our employees and public that come in the building. And I seek a motion. Commissioner Edwards, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like to make a motion that we, as a Board of Commissioners, relax the Newton County mask policy and allow the wearing of facial mask as optional only. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's a motion by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any discussion? Commissioner Sanders.
I just have one question. We're not changing the amount of people we're allowing in the building? Because that's my only concern with relaxing the mask mandate, because you're gonna have more people coming in for services.
Well, I think that's already, honestly, it's already been relaxed. I mean, people are lining up coming in both buildings, so I wouldn't sit here and say no, because they already doing it. All right. Only thing we will be doing is, catching up with the judicial system over there. Commissioner Henderson.
Just had a quick question. So will we be changing in here the seating? Will we remove the tape or whatever it is on the seat?
We would go by the CDC guidelines.
Okay.
Yes, sir. All in favor? Thank you. Passed 5-0. Next is wow. My man, so next is Public Works. Is Chester here? Chester, please come on up. Wow.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, sir, for being here tonight.
This next item has to do with the City of Mansfield. They have requested that the county allow Public Works to pave the remaining couple sections in the city of the Cricket Frog Trail. And it's currently gravel, and it's the ballast that was used on the railroad track, and it's big gravel and it's hard to walk on and ride your bike. So they requested that we do that, and what we have proposed is that the city pay for the materials and any rental trucking that we would have to we would have to pay for, and the county Public Works provide the equipment and labor. And so to date, we have paved about 9.5 miles of the trail. And so once we get the city section done, the two sections that are not done, we'll have about 8.5 miles of continuous trail paved. Of course, we've got to get across the Alcovy River and then into the city, and then once it's all done, it'll be about 14 miles, because the city's got several miles paved, and they just had the grand opening on their bridge here in town too. So it's pretty exciting. So anyway, we're requesting that the board allow the chairman to execute an agreement with the city that they would provide the money for the materials, which is estimated at $50,000. If it goes over, they agreed to pay that overage. And then also execute an agreement with the Newton Trails, who have the lease with Norfolk Southern on the railroad track.
Yeah. Thank you. Commissioner, I seek a motion, please. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like to make a motion that we approve intergovernmental agreement with City of Mansfield and addendum number 1 with Newton Trails for paving Cricket Frog Trail inside the City of Mansfield, as stated by Public Works Director, Mr. Clay.
Thank you. Can I get a second, please? Thank you. It's been a motion by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Passes 5-0. Human Resources, Amanda. Next is Human Resources. Ms. Amanda Shoemaker, if you would, please come on up.
Hello, everyone. The IRS requires that we execute a new adoption agreement every 6 years for our 401 plan. So what I have before you is a motion to, or for your consideration, is for the county to reinstate its current 401 plan due to changes in legislature and regulatory updates. And the regulatory update that mostly affects us is that our current plan will no longer limit the amount of the maximum loans that the participants can participate in.
Okay. Commissioners, I seek a motion, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? Commissioner Cowell.
Amanda, just explain that again, what
We're just
what the change
reinstating.
is. I know.
Oh, it no longer limits. Our employees can borrow against their 457 plan.
Oh, so it's a loan amount.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a limit on how many times they can borrow against that.
Right.
Those funds.
Gotcha.
All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is item 26. This is a resolution R031522. Resolution designating Gerard and Davis LLP as interim county attorney and approving professional fee schedules. I seek a motion. Sorry, Commissioner Cowell.
I make a motion to approve resolution R031522 regarding utilizing Gerard and Davis as our interim county attorney and approving the professional fee schedule.
Can I get a second? It was motion by Commissioner Cowell and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any questions, Commissioners? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. C. Whatever happened to our in-house attorney? We sit up here and we voted for an in-house attorney, and we still negotiating with Gerard and Davis. I mean, come on, y'all. Your word is only good as yourself. And it seems to me that, the rates, at first we were gonna do a cap on them. I haven't heard anything. Can't speak for everybody else. Haven't heard anything about a cap. We had told the citizens of Newton County, in the paper, up on this board, voted for it and got a second, it was approved. All of us voted on it to start negotiating or getting us an in-house attorney. We haven't did anything. We are still utilizing this service, and it would be so much cheaper, I believe, and the taxpayer won't have to pay quite as much, and it would be utilizing a good service. So I don't know why we can't. I don't know the reason why.
Anyone else? Commissioner Sanders.
My question would be is when will the bid go back out to look for the in-house attorney? Because I know the process, you already know my take on the last process. So, because there's some candidates that I think we overlooked. So when we're gonna put that process back out there to assist with the search for our in-house county attorney? Because I wasn't on the board when you all voted for that, but I do believe in going by what the vote states, and we were supposed to have an in-house attorney in place. So I just want to know when we're going to put that bid back out.
That bid will go out, I think the first of next month. Yep. Yep. Any more discussion? All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Cowell.
Sorry, in the meantime, before we move forward with an in-house attorney, we've got to have an attorney, so we've got to approve a contract utilizing, I suppose, the group that we've had, which is Gerard and Davis. I have no problem with them. But we've got to have them as our interim until such time we make a decision to move forward with it.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanders.
Did we share with the citizens what the increase was in the cap? I think I don't think that's in the agenda.
The increase, the cap is $650,000.
And I'll add, that is exclusive of litigation expenses. So if you get sued, because we have no control over those fees, if you get sued, the fees related to litigation would be outside of the 650. It would be separate from the cap.
All in favor? All opposed? It passed 3-2. Thank you. Next is the board discussion and consideration of ARPA funds being spent at $6,127.63 for a, let's see, Dow Mill community area. Who got that? Patrick? No. Yeah.
Good evening. My name's William Bogert.
Wow.
With my neighbors here.
Hold on first 1 second.
Yeah.
The chair's got to decide how we're going to present this item.
Let
and if he wants to hear
the
from
county
public.
attorney present it, and we'll, if you need to make comment, you can stay right there. If you need to make comments, you can.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I think most of you have heard of this issue before. There's a community located along Dial Mill where the internet providers simply will not run the service unless they get paid to do so, which is a little bit uncommon. Usually the internet services and the cable services run the lines and all you do is pay to join in. The cost to this community for them to access internet service would be $6,127.63. ARPA funds include, ARPA authorizes you to spend money for this project. It is an authorized expenditure to expand broadband services. You're not required to do it, but you're authorized to do it. That was a question that was asked of me. Is this an authorized expenditure? And it is. And so the question for you to answer today is whether or not you wish to utilize ARPA funds in the amount of $6,127.63 to extend that service, or not. So that's the question for you to answer tonight.
Let's I know you got a question. Let's get a motion on the floor, and then you can get the dialogue out. Commissioners, I think this is Commissioner Sanders.
I move to approve the $6,127.68 expense utilizing the ARPA funds to provide broadband to the Dow Mill area of Newton County.
Can I get a second? It was motion by Commissioner Sanders and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? Commissioner Cowell.
To whom are we going to write that check to?
So what we will do, if the board approves the resolution, is I'll get with Mr. Bogart. I'll have him provide me the contact information at whichever service provider.
I have an invoice now. I can
And
submit for the record.
we'll reach out directly to them and take care of that. So we'll do it directly to the service provider.
So what if there's multiple service providers out there?
We can certainly
I mean,
inquire.
how are we going to handle that?
Well, we're going to pick one and provide it with one. I think ultimately that's what you're going to do. You don't want to pay, you don't need to run multiple lines. I think if you're going to use your ARPA
I mean,
funds.
some people might have AT&T. some
Well, right
may
now,
have-
nobody has anything because there's no service.
There's no service at all,
Right.
okay.
Right.
Okay, then that's a lot clean.
Hey, excuse me, sir.
So what's that, sir? It's Spectrum.
Guys, hold on. Guys, wait to be called on, okay? Wait to be recognized by the chair, please. Thank you, sir.
Can I ask him a question?
I prefer you not.
No.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Commissioner, Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, to add a little clarity, the internet providers, the traditional internet providers, are being shoveled quite a bit of money right now through the federal government. They're building around the county quite a bit. So, that's what's going on, and they have territories. The government money dictates they have territories. So, I forget who this is. Is it Charter we're talking about here? Okay. So that'd be Charter's, probably Charter's territory. So I guess the question that becomes is, what ARPA bucket is this coming out of? Is it coming out of, like, when we did the Mansfield build out, that money's coming from District 1 build out, District 1 ARPA money. So, you know, this is not a large amount. So, you know, I guess that would be the we need some clarity on what bucket that's coming from. So,
Okay.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That was actually my question as well. I just wanted to know what bucket of ARPA funds this is coming out of. I know each district has $1 million allocated to their specific district, as well as we have also a total budget for broadband. So I guess just to get clarity to figure out exactly which that was going to come out of, so that we know, is this service going to be serviced just for a specific district, or is this going to be serviced for the entire county? And I guess based off of who will benefit from this particular service should define or determine which bucket of money that's coming from. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, we got Patrick and Dan.
So the resolution as presented, it would have come out of the broadband bucket. Y'all dropped, I don't remember how much, you dropped a big sum of money, I think it was $1 million, into the broadband expansion. The resolution as presented would draw it from there.
You had something?
I believe this is very much needed, as they stated to me that a lot of them in that area work from home, so they cannot work from home because they don't have any internet. So they have to go to locations or pay for locations or incubators in order to work. So we definitely don't want our citizens have to pay to work when they're allowed to work at home virtually and they don't have internet. So this is one reason why that we definitely need to move forward to allow these citizens to be able to have the broadband in their area.
Wow. Okay, cool. Anyone else? All in favor? Pass it 5-0. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Wow. Next is citizens' comments. This is an opportunity we allow citizens to make comments. You may comment this time. Please state your name and your address for the record, please. Yeah. You have 3 minutes to do so. Please state your name and your address for the record, please.
My name's David Brannon. I live at 375 Oak Hill Drive in Covington. I've got a huge problem with the government workers in Newton County. I've called on several different things. Nobody ever answers the phone. Nobody ever returns a phone call. The website is useless. There's never any information on it that's important. The roads look terrible. Back when 20 years ago in Newton County, when I had a tenth of the population and a tenth of the budget, everything looked nice. Now it looks horrible. It's like a trash dump with long grass. It's just terrible. We're not getting represented by our government. My property taxes have gone up about 170% in 7 years. Y'all keep buying stuff like Gayford's Plantation, the water park. That helps a 1% of the county when 99% pay for it. That's not representing us. I would like government to be able to do that, and I would like them to answer the phone or at least return a phone call. I've been trying to get in touch with the election officials. Every time I go to vote, there's people standing in the driveway of where I pull in to vote, smashing signs on my windshield. That is illegal, and nobody will do anything about it. Why is nothing ever done about that? Anybody? Is there an election official here?
No, you got 3 minutes, sir.
I mean, that's pretty much all my questions, but if y'all were gonna answer any of them, I might as well talk to a rock in the parking lot.
Thank you. You can talk to your District 2. You live on where now? Oak Hill Road?
75 Oak Hill Drive.
I think that's District 2. You can talk to your District 2 representative as soon as the meeting
They
is
won't
over.
answer the phone. They won't call you back. Website's useless. How can you contact anybody?
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for a few moments to address you as a body. My name is Robert Hughes of 185 Tanglewood Drive, Covington, Georgia. I would like to ask the brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, the Conyers Covington Alumni Chapter, to please stand. First, we want to just take a moment to welcome Mr. Jarvis Sims, and we look forward to working with you and supporting your work here in our county. Today, I stand before you as the president of the Conyers Covington Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, an organization that is 111 years old and is in its 11th year as a chapter here in Rockdale and Newton counties. Over the past 10 years, we have participated in the development of this county through making investments in a high quality of life by purchasing homes, supporting schools, supporting faith communities, and starting and relocating businesses, and some even choosing to retire here in this area. We have served as teachers, ministers, judges, lawyers, business owners, accountants, and now county managers. We believe in the promise of the people and communities of Newton, and we want to make certain that our elected and professional leaders are aware of the work that we do in the community, our desire to work with you to realize the full potential of our county, and our concerns regarding the forward direction of our county. We support the release of old patterns and the vigorous exploration of new approaches and ideas, of which we have some that we would like for you to engage and consider. I believe that the county would be served well by leaders who demonstrate an ability to create a common agenda and work together for what is in the best interest of Newton County citizens and our future. The next 8 to 10 years is critical for our growth, development, and advancement of our county, and we do not have 1 second to waste through bickering on public display and behind private doors. We ask our elected leaders to be accountable to use your 60 seconds of leadership in a way that reflects the eternity that is in it. We ask our elected and professional leaders to operate with a spirit of achievement and advancement by creating policies that allow long-term residents of legacy and heritage to prosper along with those who are courted for relocation. We ask that you create policies reflecting a love for community and justice, not policies driven by division, anger, and fear. We as members of Kappa Alpha Psi are residents in all 5 Newton County districts and look forward to working with each commissioner and professional county leader to discover opportunities to create a town square and a livable county that is to the advancement of all its residents in 2022 and beyond. We ask you to release old patterns and release our potential. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Minister J.B. Brockman. I'm with the organization as well. And I am the chairman of the Political, Civic, and Action Committee for this great organization. The purpose of this committee is to engage citizens in the areas of political, civic, and economic development. These are the types of programs and services that we offer, just to name a few, with this committee. Topics important to the community. If it concerns the citizens of Newton County, it concerns us deeply. With that in mind, our primary goal is to inform and educate the citizens of Newton County that we service. And with that in mind, we'd like to give a personal invitation to each of you to join us for what we call a cup of coffee. It's called the Kappa Coffee House Town Hall Meeting. It's going to be at Eastside High School on Tuesday, March 29th, from 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Our topic that's near and dear to the citizens is Senate Bill 202. Our job is to make sure that information is communicated about Senate Bill 202. That's just one of many Kappa coffee townhouses that we will be having in the community. So we thank you for the great work that you're doing, and we wanted to make sure that you had a personal invitation. Thank you on behalf of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity, the Conyers Covington Alumni Chapter. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Yeah. Please state your name, your address for the record, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Frederick Johnson, 1036 Highway 162, Covington. Just like to say, like to thank the board here and Mr. Cowan for, it looked like we're gonna eventually get a Spring Hill Community Park. This is something that I've been advocating for many years, and I've been often said that, you know, Denny Dobb Park is okay over there, but we need something over in this area. So I want to thank y'all for, you know, for making this maybe a reality. Maybe not in my lifetime, but maybe my grandkids' lifetime. But yet and still, I'll support you whatever I can do. It wasn't the best place that I wanted it, but, you know, the consensus of the citizens said, let's put it there. So I'll have to go along with that. And on Saturday, I went out Saturday morning carrying out flyers, putting it on mailboxes in the cold, hoping that we would get a good crowd here on yesterday. But, you know, it really disappointed me. I went back out Sunday afternoon and put flyers out. It really disappointed me to see the crowd that showed up like they were, you know, like nobody cared anything about it. But yet and still, I'll do what I can do. And I thank you all. I've been coming to meetings for several years now, and y'all kind of had it together tonight. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Denise Williams, P.O. Box 1442, Covington, Georgia 310015. I would just like to speak about the agenda item tonight, where one of the commissioners said that he wanted complete transparency about the master plan for District 3. Well, we wanted complete transparency, and we wanted to have an input and a say-so about what was being built in Denny Dobbs Park. We never had a town hall meeting. He never got with the citizens or the constituents to see what we wanted. And then he came back tonight on the agenda and had a master plan for Phase 2. He didn't get with us on Phase 1 or Phase 2. And not only that, we can't even get in the group, the District 2 Community Forum group, because if you if you're a citizen that's gonna hold him accountable, he blocks you from the page. So as the chairperson, I'm asking you, what do the citizens do when we are blocked and he's not communicating with us? What do we do?
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Good evening.
John Dobbs, I live on Dry Pond Road. This is the issue we done talked about once before. County manager, I congratulate you on your new job. But that man there walks in the door with a $15,000 raise. Y'all give him $150,000 a year. That breaks down to $12,500 a month, $625 a day a month for a 20-day month. Then on top of that, if y'all give Newton County a pay raise, a cost of living raise, he gets one too. If he can't make it on $12,500 a month, something is terribly wrong. Not only did he get a big contract, but y'all got 2 lawsuits because of that. Or the reverse discrimination. This is a paper. This board, I don't know what's wrong with this board. You're not thinking. That's the only thing I can figure out.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Anyone else? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to say congratulations and welcome County Manager Sims. Glad to have you. Just remember that your favorite commissioners sit closest to you, right? So, now, we're really glad to have you, but I got one complaint. It's not Newton, it's Newton. If you're gonna work here, you gotta say Newton. There you go. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Sir, the portion of citizen comment is closed out. I apologize. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate Mr. Sims for becoming a part of the team. Just from having the first meeting with you was phenomenal. I think the ideas that you're going to bring to the table is really going to be extraordinary, and we're going to really see your leadership step into place and help us as this Board of Commissioners to really elevate and take our community to the next level. So I want to say thank you for accepting the opportunity to come and be a part of this board and work with us. Secondly, I wish Mr. David Brown was still here, but I'll figure out a way how to get in contact with him. As a matter of fact, this Saturday, March the 19th, 2022 at 10 a.m., we will be engaging in our Clean Up Newton project. Oak Hill will be one of those roads that we will be actually cleaning up this Saturday. We've cleaned up Oak Hill Road probably about 3 or 4 times over the past year. And so we definitely want to make sure that we continue to do everything we can to beautify and do our part to keep our community clean. So we are going to be meeting at Denny Dobbs Park. We'll be meeting in the parking lot by the basketball court. If anyone wants to volunteer, they can actually contact me at 678-544-5212. That's 678-544-5212. We are looking for those District 2 residents to actually come out and help us clean up. So come on out. I want to ask you to come on out and help us clean our community. We're going to be this Saturday at 10 a.m., Denny Dobbs Park. We look forward to seeing you there. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Sanders.
As well, also, Mr. Sims, welcome as the inter-county manager. Thank you so much for being aboard and assisting us what we need here at Newton County. But I'm excited also that District 3 is finally going to be getting some trails and park and sidewalks. Thanks to Congressman Hank Johnson, $800,000 coming for Fairview Road multi-use trail in West Newton County. That's also going to connect with Rockdale, so we're going to have some walking space Money came from the federal government, so I'm very excited about that. I also want to thank the board tonight for voting for District 3 to get at least a phase started in our community. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. C. Well, first of all, congratulations, Mr. Sim, to this, I call it a rat race. You're gonna, there's gonna be ups and there's gonna be downs. But having met you and spoke with you during the hiring process, you're the man for the job. I just want to say this, and it'll be briefly. Today I was coming to the courthouse, and behind this man, he had been stopped. It was a man or woman, I just know what had been stopped. And that was that old 1965 Crown Vic. Police with the little blue lights right on it. Hey, y'all, I done said this, I think it's just about every year. We can do better. We, City of Covington, all new cars. Somebody who we often talk about, Rockdale, all new cars, sheriff's office cars. Surrounding counties, all new cars. But yet we had the oldest fleet, I believe, in the state of Georgia. There's something wrong with that. I know we can do better. I know we can do better. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Cowan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. Sims, we're glad to have you with us. You're gonna earn every dime that you get. I just got one question, I guess, Mr. Chairman. You and I talked earlier about some of the fleet and everything, some additional money that might be available for that. I would like for you to get with those people that may be affected by that and see if there's some needs to purchase some additional vehicles. Well, I'm very partial, I'll just tell you, I'm very partial to law enforcement. I know what it's like to get a junk car and ride around in a piece of junk. And the city of Covington, when I first started there, y'all don't even know what this kind of car is a Volare. That's what we drove. You remember those things? Piece of junk, okay? And that's what they bought because it was low bid, but I'd like for you to at least get with the people that may be affected by some of the fleet enhancements and see what they need to basically get their job done. One of our priorities in our strategic plan was public safety. And you can't get a cop to a place without a decent vehicle. And I'm just asking you to take a look at that, please. And that's it. Oh, I am excited about the Spring Hill. I did learn that Spring Hill is actually 2 words. It is not 1 word. So, but I am excited about that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Guys, we do not need executive session tonight. Thank all of you for being here tonight. Please go home. It's Taco Tuesday. Enjoy your family. I seek a motion that we adjourn. Can I get a second? Can I get a second? Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson, second by Commissioner Mason. All in favor? Thank you.